Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to our Dharma discussion. This will be our fourth session, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So this...
Good evening, everyone. It's 9 o'clock in Singapore right now, and I'm Lynn.
I'm Jody.
So nice to be with you tonight. It's Saturday here at night in Singapore.
Yes, and tonight we'll be talking about redefining our gender roles. Last week we talked about femininity and masculinity, and this week we'll be talking about redefining gender roles.
We thought we can continue where we left off about masculinity as well as femininity, and we could carry on with gender roles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a definition. What does gender role mean, and how does it come from?
I think before that, I want to also, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, don't know what we're all about, I just want to quickly share with them that Dharma Discussions is created really for a way for us to connect within ourselves and connect with each other and connect as a group, all of us. And we want to enter this space together with the mindset to really learn and to grow. And I feel like the only way we can do that when we enter this space is really to withhold any kind of judgment on any of the topics or any comments that you hear from us or you hear from the audience, and judgment on ourselves, also withhold that, judgment on others, and we can endeavor to express ourselves freely in a very respectful manner. I think that's really important for us to do moving forward. Yeah.
So if you'd like to post your comment, do post it on the live on the Facebook.
Yes.
Just check. Comment sessions. If you do want to send us messages anonymously, do send to the WhatsApp number that is listed down here. It's a Singapore number 65. It's 836899232. I'll be monitoring my phone and checking on those messages.
Yes, that's the business line, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get started, shall we?
Yes. Sure. I just wanted to share this out there. Okay, let's talk very quickly about what gender roles are. And what is this whole thing about? I want to again reiterate, this is the topic we have for today.
And so what is your definition of gender roles? So gender roles defines how we're expected to act, speak, dress, groom, and conduct ourselves based on our assigned gender. So if you can Google it, this basically is the definition. For example, girls and women are generally expected to dress in the typical feminine ways and to be polite, to be accommodating and nurturing, and men are generally expected to be strong, aggressive, and bold. So every society, ethnic group, and culture has some gender role expectations, but they can be different from group to group.
So do you guys have any kind of gender roles that you feel that you subscribe to because of your culture?
Yeah, so do send us a note and let us know how you feel about it.
So let's talk about how gender stereotypes affect people. Yeah. So when we define gender roles, it's really a simplified way of defining us, just based on biology, what we were born with biologically. So you're defined as a guy because you're born with a penis, and me, a woman, because of my vagina. That's really it. And so how do we behave socially is really defined by how we're born with.
But that is not quite the case in real terms, right?
No, but that's really how it's always been for the longest time, how we can conform to society. And these are very simplified roles that we made it like a stereotype. So now gender becomes like a stereotype. And when something becomes a stereotype, it's really judgmental and it's biased. It's not fair sometimes, it's not equal. And when that happens, especially if as a woman, it feels a bit sexist. It can be sexist both ways, either ways. And things like that, yeah.
Yeah, I personally have, not just applicable to women, also apply to men. There are certain roles that they say this is not suitable for a man, it's supposed to be for a woman. And as a result, I would just be being discriminated because of my gender, but not by my skill set or what I can provide.
So that's a very good point, Jody. Like, how do we then move forward from how we were brought up and how society expects of us. So there's 4 types of gender stereotypes that I found out, and I want to talk about each one of them.
Okay.
Okay, so Sean was mentioning about assigned or owned. What does that mean? Is it assigned gender?
No, I think what he's talking about is that role. Is this role being assigned to you because you're a man, or you own it because it's a man? Is that what you meant?
Is that what you meant?
Okay, so share with us, what are
Yeah.
the gender stereotypes?
So the first gender stereotype is definitely personality traits. Personality traits between female and male.
Okay.
Basically, women, we are supposed to be really ladylike, very demure, passive, polite, maybe a bit naive. It's okay for us to be naive, but we're expected to be very graceful and soft, nurturing and accepting.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that's on the personality part, right?
Yes, personality traits. And for men, it's very different, right? You guys are supposed to be competitive and aggressive and worldly, and confident. Yeah.
Okay, I
And
think
not supposed to cry. That's a girl thing,
yeah, I think we talked about it last week in
That's
terms of
right.
the femininity part and the masculinity part.
Yeah.
So how about in terms of the role that we play as a result of that?
I think because of that, other things happen, which we're gonna talk about. But as of now, personality traits that we are supposed to be a certain way, and we're expected to behave in a certain way. Yeah. So then we're not gonna talk too much about personality traits because we covered that a lot last week about masculinity and femininity. So those of you who want to listen to that or participate in that discussion, please check out last week's the 3rd edition. But for today, let's move along. But this is definitely something we agree with. With gender stereotype, we are supposed to behave in a certain way, and you are supposed to behave in a certain way. We are expected to, without which you don't fit. Religion comes to play, society comes to play, family comes to play, where they look at you like, hey, why are you behaving this way? So a lot of people don't accept you for who you are because of your expected gender personality traits that you are supposed to have. Yeah, so that's one. This number 2 is domestic behaviors, like how we show up at home in our own family.
Well, tell me more.
Like, I don't know about all countries, but developed countries, where women are supposed to take care of the home, like household chores, the kids, and the man is to take care of the finances. Probably the car breaks down, you work on the car, the light bulb needs to be changed, you guys go change it, go fix it, go catch that rodent. Is your job. And we are supposed to cook, clean, take care of the crying baby. So that's always been like the domestic behavior we're supposed to have.
And what's wrong with that?
Maybe in the old days, when marriage first started, we talked about that before, why we had to have marriage. Because, there was women's role. Women didn't have to work. Women couldn't work. We couldn't study. We couldn't work. We're all dependent on you. So those were the clear roles I had to fulfill within the family. That was my responsibility. You were the only breadwinner, and that was fine. That was how it was played out then. But now that we women have the ability to study as well as you men, and we are able to earn income like you guys or even more, then what happens to these roles at home? But women come home and they're still the ones who have to take care of the kids, clean the house, cook, etc., etc. But the man just does his, just bring home some money. Then I feel as a woman, I do my 9 to 5, 9 to 6 job like you, and yet I still have to come home and do a second shift, So I have 2 big jobs. My job never ends, but you just have 1 job.
Yeah, it's not fair, is it? Even put into the scenario of, if I as a man and I'm the sole bread earner, I bring in the income, and then you are a full-time 100% homemaker, for example, you take care of the household. Does that mean when I come home after my work, then my job is done over there? And so the homemaking roles, continue looking after the household, it's still your role? Is that then fair? So you never actually have a break?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of resentment that get built up, because I'll be like, hey, now my job is done. I also want to knock out. Like, I want to clock out, but I can't clock out. I have to still tend to the kids, make sure they do their homework, wash up after the dinner, etc., etc. I don't get a break. I don't get leave. I don't get to take my tea break. I don't have my annual leave. I don't get all these stuff or company retreats, etc., etc. You know, and it can build a lot of resentment.
Yes, indeed. So that is one common thing that we hear a lot in this domestic behaviors.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about like we have Sean Hill who mentioned, oh, in house we share the duties. That's fantastic, you know. But I see it more commonly in the Western culture.
Yes.
The men do put in more effort to share the load with their wife, regardless whether they're homemakers or they're also working like you. Both ways. But in Singapore, I don't know, maybe we're mostly Asians. I don't see that happening a lot. I still feel like the job, it comes back to me. Like I have to be the one that takes charge of the kids and the meals. Yeah, it's like a duty and it's my responsibility as well.
Yeah. Is that an expectation? Or is it a job that you simply assume it as you believe it is yours and you take charge of that role?
I don't know. I grew up like that. I look at it with my mom and I see it with everyone in my life. It's always the women who has to do it, like get the food ready. When the food is ready, we call everyone to eat together. But there's the aunties and my grandmother and my mother, and we are the one who prepares the food, you know, cooks it, serves it, cleans after that. I don't see it otherwise. That's how I grew up. So I don't know whether it's something I enjoy or because I do it because I have to.
Well, that's an interesting part.
It's a mix for me sometimes.
It is an interesting dynamic, or because when we have a meal together, for example, after the meal, that somehow someone needs to go and do the cleanup job. I certainly wouldn't mind doing that, but I would love to sit down, have the meal, and then we can continue with our conversation, and that's chill. And suddenly, your mother would just simply finish, done.
Yeah,
She would have to. So I said, Mom,
exactly,
sit
yeah,
down, chill. I'll do that. I said,
yeah.
No. You sit, and I'll do it.
Yeah.
And she will think that I will take over her job by doing so.
You think so? Well, maybe she's just brought up differently. It's like she have to.
Yeah.
Because I came from a family of 3 girls, so it's definitely I have to do it. I'm the eldest. It's like I had to do it. It wasn't, no doubt. It's just brought up that way. And even now at home with us, I'm the one who takes charge of all the food and the menu and making sure that everything runs in the house.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's because I've always been doing it. Therefore, I'm just doing it. I don't know.
Yes.
I do it without even asking. It's just natural.
Yeah. So if you assume the job, and then if I take over it, will I be taking something that you own?
I don't know. We must try.
And the other part, which is rather interesting, the other part is I also noticed that in my parents, right? Sometimes when my father decided to help, and he has his own way of doing his things, and my mother has been doing that for the longest time, and because they are different, they have different way of handling it. And my mother will always say, no, that is a wrong way of doing it. It's not the way we're supposed to be doing. And my father would say, I'm just finding the most efficient, effective manner. I come up with my own innovations of washing my dishes. And as long as the objective is met, it's clean, job is done.
Yeah, I guess. But in all fairness, whenever I ask him to like go speak to the contractor, go speak to the repairman, he does it, you know. So these are things that I kind of sub out to you to do, and you kind of do it. But I guess for meals and all, I enjoy the part of preparing the food and cooking and then serving you and to see you well fed. It makes me very happy.
So it's something that you actually enjoy doing it, and you want to do it.
I enjoy making sure that all the kids enjoy my food. I have a sense of pride that I made a meal which you and my kids enjoy.
Okay.
And plus, you don't cook. So I never had the expectation for you to cook because you don't cook.
Yes, maybe I never had the opportunity to.
But you keep telling me you don't cook. Is that a trick? Is that always been a trick? That's why you never had to
here's
cook.
the definition, right? Someone say, do you cook? Everybody can cook one way or another. I said, no, I know how to prepare food for myself so that I don't starve.
Yeah,
But for
like
me to really cook a meal that is palatable, that is a different story.
he just eats. When I know him, he eats the same food every day: cereal with milk, one piece of fruit, and a hard boiled egg. That's not cooking.
But I find it healthy. It serves the purpose. That's good.
Yeah. So
But I do find a lot of my friends, take Wilkie for example, he takes joy in cooking, and he really
Yeah.
prepares some great meal.
yeah, my friend who's Patrick. Oh my god, he cooks so well. His whole family cooks, but he's the top chef within the house. Yeah, he cooks for his wife, and that's how he does it. It's just their thing.
Mm.
Yeah. So Sean was also saying that he loves to cook but don't like cleaning up very much.
I'm the contrary. I do enjoy the cleanup. So during Students' Day, normally, so when Wilkie cooks or when Reborn cooks, I just go and get to there to enjoy the meal, and then I would then do the washing up. I wouldn't mind doing that.
So controversial. Asian men expect the house to be looked after by anyone except them. I don't know whether it's a boy thing, but I see mothers and grandmothers with my uncles and with like boys. The boys don't have to do household chores. It's like just leave it. The girls will do it. It's like that with from my Chinese family. It's like that. I see my mom or my auntie is the one that has to run around and clean up, and not the uncles.
Okay.
So, and I find it really that's the way it is. But I grew up with my mom, who is different. She was I would say for the latter part of my life and living with them, she was the breadwinner. She was the one with the solid, stable income, and she was one that works. My dad is the one that's always at home. So he would kind of have to chip in to do the household chores so that my mom won't be overloaded. So I kind of am lucky because I grew up in an environment where my mom brings in the bacon, but yet she does it so well that my dad is still the man of the house. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not a situation just because she brings in the income for the family where she, makes him feel less than. So that was how I grew up, and that's how I observed. Yeah. So how do you guys feel when a woman or your wife, it's the one that brings in more income? I mean, will it be something that, because it's not the gender stereotype, it's not the way it's supposed to be?
Yeah, particularly in the Asian context, men are supposed to be the bread earner to bring in the income. I've actually come across extreme cases of which both the husband and the wife are equally capable. If not, even the wife has got a higher not capacity. She can earn a much higher income than the husband, and because of the gender role, then the wife needs to be suppressed. She would need to stay home and not to work, and as a result, the whole family suffer from having to live with a much lesser income. So I actually have come across a lot of cases like that, and I find it quite sad. But I also have come across,
because they want to keep the peace at home. They don't want to let the husband feel like the ego is bruised.
Well, I think,
or that he get teased for staying home.
Both ways, I suppose. I can't really judge, but some is the husband who forbid the wife from working. Some the wife feel that it's not her place too. So I have come across cases of both.
I've definitely seen that a lot. I've seen it a lot growing up and with peers. Therefore, I always tell my daughters, or I tell friends, like the men they marry is so important where they are. I feel like sometimes we as women will restrict ourselves to be our fullest potential because of the man we marry. And I felt like that in my previous marriage. I couldn't be me. I couldn't shine. I couldn't outshine him. In any way, if I looked like I was brighter, it would hurt our marriage. It would hurt his ego and therefore hurt our marriage. And it did.
Well,
it's sad, but I suffered with it, and I realized that, oh my God, it's not easy.
Yeah, I think this whole gender role thing, we really need to redefine and look into it again, whether it's still applicable to the modern society.
So one of the reasons I was looking at could be because, like in Singapore-wise, we have maternity leave for women. Like after we give birth, we have 16 weeks of maternity leave. Yeah, so generally women are able to get like 3 to 4 months off from work, while men only has 2 weeks of paternity leave that they can take. So maybe I think it starts even from that level, like because the women are given so much more time to take care of themselves and their kid, that they're kind of expected you to be the one who takes care of the kids. It could be because of the biasness of the gender stereotypes that has been flowed through to the government and they're following it as such. Or by doing so, they're just reiterating and reaffirming that women, you are the one who needs to take care of the kids and not the father. Right? So even all these things are very small things, but it makes a lot of difference.
Yeah, and the choice is not given. It's literally discriminated by gender. If you are the father, it's not that because you play the father role. Because a woman can play the father role.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And even so, and I think you felt the reverse, right? When a couple gets a divorce.
Oh yes.
It becomes the reverse where the women's rights are maybe much stronger.
Yes.
Due to again our gender, we are seen as the weaker one, or we're seen as the one who's the natural fit to be the parent of choice.
The care and control naturally will be granted to the mother unless she's proven to be unfit.
Like extremely unfit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is the case in most countries, be it developed or developing countries. And as a result, it's no longer looking into who has got the better resource to provide the care and control.
Or who is the better parent, or who wants to do it better, who wants to do it more. It's just naturally it has to be the mother.
Yeah.
It's always the case. And I'm like, why should it be us? Why can't it be both? Why can't it be just him? Wants to be me?
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm the woman? And I just think this stereotype has helped and also hindered a lot of us.
Yes, that is true.
Like some fathers, I know in your case, you would definitely have wanted to be the care and control of your kids from your previous marriage.
Yeah.
But he couldn't.
One thing is but we have to also look at it objectively. Who has got the better resources in providing the care and control? That was not looked upon. It was simply say because she is a woman, she is the weaker one, and she is the mother. And unless you can prove that she is unfit and unwell, and that changes the whole argument.
She needs to be extremely unfit and extremely unwell. It's not like she's not as good. Like you could be better, but no, it's just that she's really awful. Yeah. Therefore, then maybe you'll be the one. They may even consider her their parents before you.
Quite right.
Yeah.
So that is the part which I totally see that this whole gender role thing, this whole isn't really working.
Yeah. Sometimes I tell women who are going through a divorce, I'm like, no, seriously, let him have the kids. Like, why must it be you? Right?
Okay, that will be another topic of discussion.
Yeah, but okay. Anyway, moving on to the third point. With regards to gender stereotype, which is hurting us, okay, which is stereotypes has then led to occupational and leadership roles also being suffering from this stereotype.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Like even as young as like this, what toys do girls and boys play with? And this picture is a bit controversial, right? The girl in pink is playing with more boys' toys, with the trucks and the planes, and then the boy is playing with more what we label as girly toys, right? Do we even allow our kids to play both? Just play whatever they want, right?
Yes, I think naturally they can make their own choice what they want to,
but a lot of us don't.
Parents,
a lot of us don't. Yeah. Do we as parents allow them to? Does the society even allow them to? When you go to school, are they given a choice to? Or they're like, okay, the boys, you take all the cars, and you girls take all the dolls. Can they play dress up? When they play dress up, can they dress as a princess? Can they also switch roles when the girl becomes the prince that rescues the princess, and the boy dresses in the dress and the skirt? Is it possible?
Yeah.
I mean, dress up, has it not always be the boys have to be the prince in the shining armor, and the girl has to be please save me. How much do we allow that to happen? You see, so that's the question. And I think because it starts so young as kids, what they learn in school, how we teach them as parents, make a difference in their life. You look at now the generations now we have very little girls in STEM roles. STEM roles are science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Like this. So the it's really small. There's only like 1 in 5 STEM positions are female. So less than 20% of positions of science, tech, engineering, and maths have a female in it. Tech jobs has only 20% female, 80% men. Non-tech jobs is equal.
Do you think this is because of the gender role influence that women should go into a certain career path and men should go into a certain career path, or it is naturally from the skill set and the interest of the person?
I think it's a built-up of generations of stereotypes and biasness. Therefore, girls are put in certain roles. Like we learn home economics in school. Did you learn that?
No.
Yeah. Why am I supposed to learn how to sew and cook? Why can't we all learn how to sew and cook? No, but only I had to learn how to sew and cook, and the guys learn like what they call the technical skills for engineering and how to mold and stuff.
I didn't learn that either.
I mean, in Singapore, it's like this, right? So the guys get to go this thing called the tech class. They get to weld things together, something more hardcore metal work, and we have to learn how to sew and cook. And I'm so bad at the sewing. I did well at the cooking, but I was so bad I could never finish a skirt. So it's like,
on the contrary, actually, I did learn how to sew.
Really?
I learned how to make a pair of trousers for myself.
oh yeah, and
I
then
did.
you also got into the industry of
Yes, because that's of the
Clothing.
vocational skills, right?
yeah.
I was into the garment manufacturing, so I need to learn how to sew, how to actually do the patterns, the markers, and then eventually coming up with a pair of trousers, going through that, learning the whole process. I never learned that in school.
Oh, okay. We had to learn that in secondary school, or what you call secondary school is called upper
Yeah, high school.
high school. Yeah,
secondary
yeah.
school.
So I had to learn how to cook and sew.
Yeah.
So sadly, like certain stats, I'm sure you can find it on the internet. Like only 3% of the world of the pilots are women, and 88% of the world engineers are men. I mean, it's such a
Yeah.
And when women, and nowadays, when you look at the class, there's quite a close gap. As in there's 60% men and 40% women in engineering, mathematics, and science now, which is great, right? We made a lot of ground. Like there are a lot more women students in these classes, but they still don't get the jobs. They don't get paid the same. So even to today, despite the classes having that much more female, they don't get the jobs. They're still looking for men. You see, like IT is always mostly men, and engineers are still mostly men.
True. Pilot skill, for example, is not how you push a plane. You actually fly a plane. And so why is men better than women in terms of flying a
I
plane?
don't know. It's just the way it's been. Like hard machinery stuff, big machine is men. In the construction side, it's men. It's like the big clunky stuff, it's men. And the soft touch, like nurses, like nursing is another thing. We always have a stereotype, right? Doctors are the men and the nurse will be the women. Just like pilots are the men and the one who's serving the food, the stewards, the stewardess are the female.
Yeah. So those are the gender roles.
And women
Defined.
see that after a long time, and we're educated like that. Oh, we see this what they're supposed to be. Because now there's a lot of female coming up, and there are a lot more nurses also in Singapore. I just read that the male nurses in Singapore has increased from 3,500 to 4,700 in 5 years.
Okay.
But that comes up to about only 10% of the whole nurse population. It's increasing, but still, right? It's still very tough. And then you look at leadership roles, and I must bring it up, being a business leader, that women make up half of the workforce. Like half of the workforce in the world developed countries are women, half men. 41%, but still about half, right? 45% to be exact. In the last 20 years, we have had more women in higher education than men. So there are more graduates, female graduates than men in the last 20 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think now we
So
have more
women
female-
are more female graduates than ever before in the last 20 years. Yet there's so little of us in leadership positions. Like why? Why there's more graduates, female graduates, and yet there's so little of us? There are only 29% of us women in top executive levels, and they are in these roles. And it gets worse, like supervisory role, 50-50. Managerial role, okay, still close to 50-50. But once it goes to senior manager, group department heads, and senior group department heads, it gets very less. Much lesser women there. And in the Fortune 500 companies, only 5% of women are the CEOs. Why?
Well, I think
Why?
I think this could be an area that we can look into. Is it because of the discrimination between gender roles, or maybe it's the skill set needed?
Even for politicians, now we are seeing more traction with some countries having PMs and presidents being female, but not a lot. It's
No.
more than it's been, but still.
But the leadership style is very different, though.
Yeah, look at New Zealand.
Oh yeah, she's
She's
one of my
done
favorite.
so well, like in this crisis.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We should have more female leaders like her. Shining example of how it's really possible for a different world,
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Oh, we have some comments. Key issue is that when women have children, it takes them out of the workforce. Exactly. And if women are the only ones with the maternity leave to be the one that takes care of them, and the guys don't get a lot or enough, they can't step in to help. So in some countries, they give a lot of maternity leave. They give as much as 1 year, even 2 years.
Yeah, like in the North European country,
In
the
the Nordic
Nordics.
countries, yeah. Fantastic. But I also read, surprisingly, I was very surprised to read that Japan and South Korea also gave their men a lot of leave.
But the men don't take them.
No, 60 weeks to a year for Japan, 1 year.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they had that. But
Yeah.
it's true. But they don't take it because it's culturally very frowned upon for men to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as the government is trying and they gave them the leave, no one is doing it. No one is taking
Yes,
it.
we actually met a minister in Japan, and he was actually on the news. I'm not talking about in Japan news. I'm talking about he made it to world news. He was in the BBC because he was the first man in such a high level decided to take that
Minister.
Yeah, minister leave.
Early 40s or something, late 30s.
Yeah.
He's quite young.
Yeah.
And he took it to
And
show the world, show his countrymen that it's possible to do it.
well, it is possible to do it. It's just that you will be seen as a weak leader. You will seen that you're not putting your job as a priority. So that's the perception that people give. And as a result, a lot of men will not take it.
Correct, especially Japan.
Yeah, maybe Japan.
The women are the ones expected to stay home, and they are not a culture like us where we have helpers from Indonesia or Philippines or Myanmar who can stay at home and work for us in our home as domestic helpers. So we're quite fortunate in like Singapore, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Malaysia. We still have this luxury, affordable luxury, where we can still have someone at home to help take care of the kids. So it allows women like us to still go out and work.
Mm-hmm.
It allows for us to have certain date nights or travel a little bit.
Yeah.
Because someone's at home to tend to the kids for a while.
Yeah.
But some countries, they don't. Like Japan doesn't have this luxury. Australia doesn't have this luxury. So someone's got to be at home.
Yeah. So when the man decide to do that, and if the woman has already recovered from delivery, apparently it takes time to recover, right?
Yes.
So it almost takes the same amount of time to recover compared to the pregnancy time. So if she has recovered and she wants to go out to work and the man stays home, is that socially acceptable?
I don't know. In the past in Singapore, it's quite unheard of. Now it's totally, I feel like if I hear it, it's totally fine. No, that's cool. There's some men who stay home. I know this guy who's his house husband. He chose to be. His wife makes more, so she goes bring in the income. But he does a little side business on the side. But it's more of a freelance thing, a one-man show. So he's the one that shuttle the kids up and down. He says he enjoys it.
Yeah.
But he thinks it's hard because when he tells it to friends, they're like, what? It's a lot of socially, it doesn't feel so welcoming and accepted.
Yes, I used to have a manager who works for me. She's from the UK. She's a Pakistani by origin, but she's a Brit. And her husband is an Englishman. So he is actually about 10 years her junior. He himself is also a university graduate. He himself is also an engineer. But the opportunity was then given to her to get this job to work overseas, getting the whole expat package. And he's saying, good, now you actually earn far more. Given the package, they actually earn triple the amount when they were there back home. But he just had to give up his job. So he said, good, I can stay home and be the home daddy to look after the kids. And he developed a side business at home to groom pets, and she goes out to work. And it worked out really well.
Yeah, that sounds good. When the husband and wife are okay with it, that's one big battle won. Where internally the wife is fine and don't look down on the husband, and vice versa, the husband don't feel like he should be ashamed of it. And both of this working well is a big win. The rest really is not to listen to the rest of the people already.
Yeah. So that role aside,
I think, and also I want to add something because I was speaking to one of my friends and she does a matchmaking business. And it's so hard, right? A lot of single women out there because a lot of women are all highly educated, and based on, again, the stereotype that they grew up with, they want their men to be equally or even better in terms of education and, of course, in the earnings. But you see, isn't it a dichotomy? Because you yourself have made yourself so intelligent and you have the potential to earn so much. How many more people is going to earn above that level? So you're kind of shortchanging yourself the potential of a love mate or a partner just because you feel that you need to find a guy who's going to make more money than me or smarter than me in terms of the paper-wise. You get what I mean?
Mhm.
So sometimes you just restrict yourself and you stop yourself from having a great potential marriage or partnership just because you say, I need to find a man who is going to be more educated than me and earning a lot more than me. Though I really earn a lot and I'm very educated. You get it?
Yeah.
Don't you think the guy has lots of choices too? Think women. So they end up being single because they have so much checklist and so much things. They are trapped in this stereotype. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Silly, right?
That's true. So aside from occupation, aside from leadership, what are other gender bias, I would call it now?
Okay, the fourth one is definitely on physical appearance.
Okay.
Mm.
So
Gender's physical appearance.
men are supposed to look.
No, you guys can get away with having some tummy, not being very fit, with no need to have six packs. But women, we cannot have a tummy, we can't have a lot of things. We need to be immaculate.
Okay.
If not, we're not considered attractive enough.
All right.
Just look at the media, okay? Just look. Women's Health magazine and Men's Health magazine. Can you explain to me? I talk about health magazine. I don't want to bring up the normal women's magazine, okay? Just look at the health magazine, okay? Same women's health and men's health. Why must the women always be like close to naked and skinny and always talking about being sexy? While the man just have to be all well clothed. He's not like naked or as naked as her. And he just have to be gain muscle, So that to me is already a physical bias that we have to kind of live with.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the gender bias.
Yeah, women are expected to be thin and graceful. Men are supposed to be tall and muscular.
But this is interesting. So that's the gender bias we look into. And so I was actually watching a TED talk, right, from these two gentlemen. They're both professional dancers.
Ballroom dancers.
They are both instructors as well. Trevor Kopp and Jeff Fox. And
when you're instructors, you instruct both female and male.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you look into every ballroom dancing, you will see the male playing the leading role and the female then play the follow. It's always the case, right?
Before, right? Salsa.
Yeah. So the female will have to follow the man's lead.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. So when you look into the dance itself, it's about leading and following. So why does it have to be the man who leads, the woman who follows? So that's one, right? Number two, forget about same gender.
Oh yeah, same gender couples. How? Huh?
If you actually try to Google any images of ballroom dancing competition,
2 men or 2 women,
you don't see same gender.
Never,
right?
I don't see it.
Okay, for even if it's the male and female, the appearance, the male has to be bigger than the female.
Oh yes, of course, taller and bigger.
It has to be.
And the women has to be slimmer and shorter.
Yeah. So why can't a bigger woman plays the leading role? Why can't a smaller man play the leading role? So that's this whole gender roles very much implemented into this whole thing. So it's quite interesting. So they actually come up with a neutral or free flow. Both parties who are in that dance, they can take turns. They can fluidly
lead.
They can take turns to lead, and they come up with the steps to change that, and it's quite beautiful. And you actually
They call
see,
it a liquid leadership, something like that.
yeah.
So it's not like whoever can just lead whenever we feel like it. So it makes the dance more creative and more interesting to look at.
Yes.
Then just look at the ballroom, the waltz, right? It's the most boring of all ballroom dances to me. It's always the same, right? The guy would have to go backwards. He's turning backwards, and the women's always going like that, and no one is looking at where they're going.
And that's where accidents happen, right? That's how they crash.
The guy is just turning by the back, not from the front. He's going by the back like that, and the woman is always just tilting her head and one arching her neck and one corner. She's not seeing where they're going. So neither party is seeing where they're going. They're going round and round backwards.
Yeah. So if actually they can play that fluid role, whoever sees then play the leading role. To lead the dance. And so this is an interesting part. And the gender roles, is it defined by the gender itself?
Apparently, yes. Like now, the roles that we play, a lot of it is due to the gender that we have, unfortunately, which is very sad. And I think it starts from very young. Just look at this advertisement, and it made me a little pissed off, honestly. Look at the boy, the little scholar. Your future starts here, blah, blah, blah. Look at the social butterfly. She's being the talk of the playground. So even in ads, I think this is Gap Kids, very recent. Even the way they advertise for young kids, like he's the smart one and she's just the pretty one. So that's already so dangerous how we are telling the kids.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like a lot of things starts from there. And I notice our son. He even has his own stereotype, and it's amazing, okay? So for instance, just a recent example. I was looking at his hair, I tried to push it out and said, "Oh, Julia, I think maybe you should grow out your hair and then you can tie it up like your dad." You know? I'm like, let's grow out your hair and tie up your dad. It's like, no, only boys don't have long hair. Only girls have long hair. Then I'm like, what? But look at your dad. Then he kept quiet. So where did he come up with that idea? We never taught him that. You know, and yet he said he's so insistent, I'm not going to grow my hair long. That's for girls. He's 4 years old, by the way.
Yeah, so it's the social environments that actually
then I'm like,
get into that.
It's fine. It's fine. Your dad has long hair. He's had it for a long time. It's fine. You look really cute. Oh, you tie your hair together. No. I do not want long hair. No. Okay, fine. I thought you look quite cool. He said no. Then for the longest time, he refused to kiss his father goodnight. He would just give a side hug. He would kiss me. He kissed his grandma, even his sisters, but he would never kiss his dad. So we were asking him, like, why don't you kiss your dad? Because boys don't kiss boys. I'm like, huh? Where do you get that from? Boys cannot kiss boys. I'm like, but your dad kisses grandpa all the time at the cheeks. It's fine. Don't kiss the lips. We can kiss the cheeks, right? So now does he kiss you?
Yeah, sometimes he would give me a pat on the cheek. That's it.
Yeah, okay. We've made some progress. The good thing about our son, he grows up with 2 older sisters and they play with dolls and stuff. So when he plays with them, I will never stop. So he wants to take care of a little doll. I go take care of the doll. How's she doing? She's sick. So I think it's being able to allow him to do that. He wanted to be a chef, like go cook. Something he acts like a little puppy doll, the puppy animal, or little animal, whatever. It's just play, and I think it's fine to let them really explore and let them play. When I saw ads like this, I think we are moving in the right direction. Where you're selling cars and you have both genders playing it. I see ads like this where they're cooking together or they're caring for little kids together, pushing the strollers together. And it's not just a girl pushing it, but both. I think these images are really, really important for schools to be re-educated and for parents to be open to them playing whatever they want. I think they're just so scared. They're just so scared of what's going to happen if you do that.
What is going to happen?
I don't know. Okay, just recently during the lockdown, Singapore had a lockdown for about 2 over months, and I'm home every day, and my son is also home. So I will put on some makeup sometimes when I have meetings, virtual meetings. I put on some makeup, and he look at me all the time doing it. He's always very curious, being like a 3-4-year-old boy. He said, "Mommy, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm putting on makeup." "Why are you doing that?" So, "Oh, I want to look pretty." "Oh, I want to look pretty like you, Mommy." Okay, so he kept insisting on wanting to use the makeup. So I said, okay, fine, I'll use some powder for him. So I put on half the face, I put some blusher, but I didn't want to put lipstick, I didn't want to eat it. And then he was not very happy about it. So I remember putting it on my Facebook that my son was curious about makeup and I let him use it. And I had certain comments that came back. Like, "Oh my God, why do you do that? You shouldn't do something like that. What if he gets the wrong idea?"
And
So,
what's wrong being metrosexual? Men putting on makeup, it's nowadays like the K-pop stars, they all do.
Yeah, like tinted cream just to make the skin more glowy and has sunblock. Maybe they do eyebrow embroidery because they don't have nice eyebrows that frame their faces. They can put lip gloss, like I don't know what they want to do. So my son was asking whether he can use it again. I said, you can, but I know most men out there don't use it. But if you want, okay. But after that one time, out of curiosity, he now came back for it again.
Yeah.
But it's just that I had comments from friends and all about what I did. So that shows me that we are not open. This certain area of makeup is really a female thing. You shouldn't let your son do it. What are you trying to do?
And yet that is the biggest potential now in terms of the makeup industry, right? For the metrosexual.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe you're right. I don't know. But that was how it is.
Okay, so after all these discussions, so how do we actually redefine gender roles?
Yeah, what do you guys think? How would you want to redefine gender roles? Should we even have gender roles? Is my question.
To me, aside from the biological part of which men can't give birth, we don't have a pair of breasts to go and breastfeed. Aside from that, it's all down to the actual skill set. So can we actually look ourselves as human being who's got the better skill set to perform a certain...
We're born with certain talents, right?
The talents, the role, their passion, and regardless of the gender.
Yeah, and lots of industries have made a lot of ground. Like, singers used to be only men, then they had female singers, etc., etc. I think every industry is starting to shift. Though not all of them are equal, but we can definitely see a shift. I think more is to come if we allow it to happen.
And nothing is wrong with that, I think.
I still feel that in Singapore, women should serve national service too, not just the boys.
Oh yeah.
I think they should serve national service in their own way. So certain things could be similar, certain things could be different, but we can also contribute to our nation, and we could have really good strategists or naval people or pilots, etc. Some of them are physically very fit and they can also fight as a soldier. So many things women can do, and I think we're lacking that even in the army. Yeah, and all these other typical men roles can be open to women to come in, or vice versa.
Yeah, and I think the boys should learn also how to sew, how to cook, how to bake.
Yeah, so that we don't have to keep doing it.
And then if you look at the statistics, the world's best chefs mainly are men.
Yeah, surprisingly, right? When we grow up, I don't cook, the women cooks, but you see, when it boils down to it, the Michelin star people, there are a lot of male chefs versus a female chef who gets to that level. So
and just because that person happened to be better at it and has the talent and has the passion, regardless of the gender.
Even for hairdressers. Hairdressers traditionally is a very female job. It's about hair, it's about face and beauty. But the top hairstylists in the world are also men, actually. I think vice versa as well. There are also top surgeons which are women. There are also top politicians which are women. It's just, one of those things that we need to start being conscious about it now. The books we read for our kids, what we say to them, how we dress them, and how we insinuate certain things would make a difference in the generations to come. So I think we've made a lot of traction. We made some progress, but I think more is to come, especially in the tech world. Knowing that we're all going like tech, virtual and tech, but only 80% are men and 20% are women. Then what's going to happen to our girls? They will not have a job. If we keep going down this route where our computer tech stuff is a boy thing, programming is a boy thing, coding, is all for boys. You girls do the soft other stuff.
I see nothing wrong if a girl is interested in it.
Yeah, so it's really how we must start shifting and letting them be exposed to as many different things as possible and let them find their talent, and that's what they're good at. We could really do that.
Yeah, so Andy made a comment. Oh, yeah. So it's actually the skill set. Is it related to gender? Maybe something we have to accept. For example, how many times you call a plumber, almost 100% male plumber showed up.
I don't know any female plumbers. I don't know. No, yeah, like contractors fix my aircon, all this thing. I never seen the.
I do come across female mechanics who fix my car.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I have come across female mechanics.
I've not seen, but I've seen on TV. Yeah, still less, but there are some.
Yeah, so it's the skill set at the end of the day, not necessarily the gender. If it happens to be biologically or naturally that skill set are better in a particular gender role, then so be it. But as a society, we shall not define that, and nor shall we discriminate.
No, we should not. But therefore I think for us who have daughters, we must really encourage them that anything is possible. The sky's the limit. I remember speaking to my eldest a few years ago, and she loves to write. Well, you can be an author. She said, no, but all the authors are men. I'm like, no.
Not true.
So when I said that the Harry Potter series that you like, J.K. Rowling, she's a female. Oh, really? Yeah, she's like one of the highest earning authors ever. And she's female. And then you can see the spark in her eye. Then she realized that it's possible. Before which she just had this inclination that writers and authors are all men. So it's not something that she could do.
Yeah. So again, back to it, who is better at it? We're just looking at you as a human. I think that's how we shall define who is better, who has got the passion, who has got the talent, and let you develop.
Yeah, and not discriminate even the boys for taking on roles which are predominantly female.
Yeah,
so that's fine too.
Well, one of my friends, she also mentioned that, well, nowadays, if we're looking where the trend is going now, the female is at a better place because now you have the choice to say traditionally what you want, and you can also change and adapt to the new future. Whereas for men, we're kind of like stuck.
Really?
Well, that's an interesting comment, but I tend to agree.
Do you feel like you're stuck as a man?
No, I don't feel that I'm stuck as a man, but I do feel that the mindset itself kind of like make men stuck in a place. Because a lot of men now are seeing, there's an uprising power of the women.
Feminism uprising, yes.
Yeah, and as a result, we need to suppress that. Because out of fear, instead of seeing that, wow, great, now we have greater partners, greater synergy.
Yep.
A lot of men do see that threat coming in.
Yeah, they find that strong women are a threat. It's always been like that for a long time.
Yeah.
I feel like a threat to some men.
But if we have an open mind and to understand that we are all equal, not the same, we are equal. And the diversity is the place that we can unite as a better being. Then gender differences
shouldn't come to play,
not come to play.
Yeah, exactly.
So that basically is what we have come through tonight.
Mhm. So, this is what we're going to discuss next week.
Oh, love and lust. I love that.
Yeah, I think we got the whole gender thing out of the way. I think we should get back to some more exciting topics.
You call this exciting?
I think it's exciting.
Love and lust. That would be an interesting topic.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that. Can we have both of them in the same relationship?
That's what we're going to talk about next week. So hope you guys can join us same time on Saturdays at 9 o'clock Singapore time or 9 a.m. EST.
All right. So it's been an enjoyable evening. Thank you for all your contributions.
Yep. Anything, you guys can still WhatsApp us. You can still put your comments on this Facebook Live, and we hope to see you guys really, really soon. So I guess it's the end of the session.
Yes.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.